This is the new Land Rover Defender, and it's confused. You see, it's got a modern and contemporary front-end design that could easily go for a new discovery, and at the same time, it's got a retro-looking rear end that harks back to the older Defenders. It's got an advanced off-road software system they call the all-terrain supercomputer and an advanced heads-up display, but at the same time, it's got optional wheels straight out of the 1980s. It's got as many high-tech screens as a Mercedes S-Class, but it also has exposed screws and optional cloth seats. In short, this new Defender gives the impression that it's trying its very best to cater to vastly different types of drivers. And I'm not sure that's the best way to go about doing things. Because, take a look at the latest G-Wagon for instance. Its purpose is very clear. This is first and foremost a luxury SUV. That statement is made abundantly clear by its superb and extremely luxurious interior. The target buyer for the G-Wagon is also very clear. This car is for people with deep pockets who are looking for a luxury SUV with cool styling. Sure, it has exceptional off-road capabilities, but that's not something your typical G-Wagon buyer is after. They mostly use the car as a daily runner on well-paved roads, never going anywhere near a difficult terrain, and Mercedes is well aware of that. Now going back to the Defender, it's clearly not a luxury SUV. No, Land Rover says the new Defender is for serious off-roaders who will take it on long journeys to remote locations.
So go on, get out there. This vehicle's ready for anything.
But here's the thing, serious off-roaders need their cars to be dependable. Because even though the new Defender may give the impression that it's a fairly rudimentary car with its steel wheels and cloth interior, it's not a rudimentary car. You see, a lot of its incredible off-road capabilities are a result of the immense amount of technology that went into it.
All-terrain progress control lets you set your speed, optimize traction and maintain progress in off-road conditions. And if you're faced with a tricky slope, don't worry. Hill launch assist and gradient release control work together to ensure the vehicle doesn't roll backwards or accelerate too quickly when it pulls away.
Now here's the thing, its all-terrain supercomputer partially relies on sensors on the car to feed information as to what's going on. And the question that immediately pops up in the mind of someone who wants to take the new Defender to a remote location is, what if one of those sensors fail? They almost certainly won't be able to replace it by themselves on the fly. And they will need to head to a dealership to have it sorted. And what if the nearest dealership is hundreds of miles away from their current location, as it's often the case on these types of journeys? And that's just the sensors. The car has 85 VCUs, you can option it with air suspensions, and all those things are subject to failure.
Configurable terrain response, a world first, means you can now individually select Defender's powertrain, steering, differentials and traction control settings. Whilst Terrain Response 2 gives you the option to activate an automatic mode that analyzes the driving conditions and then chooses the most suitable terrain program.
Fitting that much technology into a car means far less people are able to sort it if something goes wrong. This situation is very similar to those of phones. It used to be that one could open the back of their phone and change the battery, and with just a little know-how they could easily dig deeper and change a variety of other components. They had an almost unlimited access to the internals of their phones. Nowadays, almost all phones are finished in glass and are tightly packaged, making it extremely difficult to access its inner workings, which complicates even the simplest of repairs, essentially requiring a specialist to perform any sort of fix or change. And that's the thing, the old Defender is like the old phones which could be serviced or worked on from anywhere with minimal conditions to do so, and the new Defender is like the new phones, requiring specialized personnel to work on a great number of its components. That might be a serious turnoff for people looking to take the car to faraway places, considering Land Rovers aren't exactly known for their reliability. And then there's the customization aspect. To be fair, Land Rover does offer a substantial amount of OEM customization options, so many in fact that it often seems like they're trying to take away some revenue from third-party companies, but that's a different topic. The bottom line is, the new Defender does not seem to be as versatile as the old one. It appears one simply cannot customize it as easily as they could with the old one. And if we look at the Wrangler for instance, one can see that customization is a big part of the off-road community. The Wrangler is extremely versatile when it comes to customization. I've never seen two modified Wranglers that look alike, and that's a market that the new Defender might be missing. So the question now is, who's this car for? It's not for the G-Wagon buyer, as its styling is way too modern at the front. It's also not a luxury car, and it's far cheaper than a G-Wagon. It's a tough sell for serious off-roaders, as it's way too complicated to work on and it's simply not as versatile as the old one. It's maybe for those who will occasionally take it on a short off-road trip, but mostly spend their time driving around town, and even those people have plenty of cheaper, more practical alternatives. Why will they go for the Defender? But in sum, I think the Defender is for everyone, as long as they are willing to make serious compromises on whatever it is they're planning to do with the car. And that's the big problem with the new Defender. It's attempting to please everyone to some extent and not just focus on a single type of buyers in the same way the Wrangler, the Jimny or the G-Wagon are. Let me know if you don't agree with something I've said, and thanks for watching.